In a world filled with conflict, in a universe comprised of differences, there's one thing that absolutely everything shares in common. We all exist. Including two guys named Jack and Michael, who like to chat about that very thing over a good cup of coffee. Let's pay them a visit, shall we?
Existence Brewing.
I think this was the second choice in Close Encounters of the Third Kind for the music that they were going to play to try and communicate with the extraterrestrials. Don't you, ma'am? Oh, I'm sorry you were on here. I didn't see you had your thing sticking out of your ear. I'm sorry.
Zinga.
Sorry, I didn't know you. You got
Hello.
Bluetooth. Represent. Where's black tooth, white tooth, green tooth, red tooth? Come on.
Yeah, the blue
colored
people.
Dr. Tooth. He was a Muppet. Hey.
Hey, man, what's going on?
Oh, I'm just harassing
The locals.
people in line.
Yeah.
I try to identify the people that are just passing through, the visitors.
Yeah, there seems like there's been a lot of visitors around town lately.
Yeah, these visitors, they come here and, they swirl around and they stay for too long. Don't leave town when they should.
Lifeless eyes.
Yes.
Black eyes. Like a
All of them,
doll's eye.
single one of them. Lifeless black doll's eyes.
Yeah, like a doll's eye.
Trinkets and souvenirs and whatnot. Those little spoons that'll whirl you into, hypnotize you. Have you ever known anybody that's collected those souvenir spoons?
Oh yes, I had a in-law that had those. In fact, she collected a lot of things. And did I tell you about the penny collection that I got from her?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh! So just tell me, please, do not pick up another hobby, because I'm not trying to pick up another hobby, but you know how it goes.
Yeah, all too well, and I can't afford another one myself.
No, there's a penny collection that came into my my workshop, and I've been going through it, and it was a book of pennies dating all the way back to 1910.
Okay.
And
going back to the wheat cents.
Oh yeah, no, it's like a full wheat cent. Starts with the wheat cent, goes into the Lincoln Memorial, and it just keeps going and going and going. Well, as you know, they're going to do away with the penny.
Yes.
And I was thinking, you know what? Like, now granted, there's like 30 years that we're missing, but I'm looking at it like, hey, I could find those. I can find those. And somebody needs to finish this penny book. Well, I'm here. What's that?
Remember, it's going to get off the rails, though, because it's not just the years. You have to find the mints, because there were different mints, Denver,
100%.
Philadelphia.
100%.
And then there are pennies that are worth millions of dollars because they're some kind of upside down Lincoln, or the D was put over his forehead or something.
The double
and you're going to want those too.
The double stampers and the San Francisco 1910 VDB. Oh yeah, no, I've read into it fully. And here's
1910 VD penny.
Yeah,
the one that could double as a birth control mechanism if you needed it.
But no, like she had probably all of them except for 30. And she had Philadelphia mints. She had the San Francisco mints, which, that was a thing at one point. Denver mint on almost every single year. And of course, these aren't uncirculated pennies. These are pennies that have just been gathered throughout the years. And it's amazing to me. I always have a ton of respect for people who used to collect before the internet, because the fact was, like, how were you supposed to get in the 1950s a Philadelphia 1934 penny? Well, you had to
find it.
You had to go find it. And you had to
find it.
Yeah, and you had to like go on vacation somewhere where there would be enough of a chance that, or you'd go to a swap meet and you would swap with other collectors. And I just found it fascinating. And I'm like, you know what? By golly, I'm gonna finish that penny collection. And so yeah, that's what I've been working on.
That was one of the many collections that I had when I was a boy, was coins. And it sounds like your penny collection starts way later than mine did, because I had, I want to say it was made during James K. Polk's presidency. He was the 11th president of the United States, and happened to be my brother's favorite. He always wanted this coin, and he wound up with it somehow. I probably sold it to him or gave it to him or something like that. But it was an 1847 large cent. And when we talk about, you've never seen a penny this big before, bigger than a quarter and probably as thick as an Oreo is. A big coin, because back then a penny was worth a lot more than it has been in probably the last 60 years or so. So I had some pretty neat coins, and we went to... we had a coin store here in town, real nice people that ran it, this old couple, and they did a little auction down here at one of the hotels. One time we went to that, and with my mom. My mom was always so supportive of all my hobbies and interests and things. And so she took me to the auction, and I got to raise the paddle and bid on a few coins and win a few. And so it was fun. But yeah, back then I went to the coin store pre-internet, and every so often you'd find something. I remember my mother got like a $2 bill silver certificate back as change one time. And, that went in her collection because she had a little collection of her own. And so, yeah, it's fun. But yeah, you don't need to look for these other pennies. You have enough things, I think, that you're looking for. You're just telling me about the gold discs that you're trying to search for. And remember, the Angel Moroni supposedly gave those to Joseph Smith years ago, and they still haven't found those. So looking for them isn't going to do anything.
It just goes to show you can get involved in all kinds of different collectible items, and collectibles are fun. But I'm telling myself every day that I'm not getting myself into another hobby. And the thing that really I think started me on it was we have one of those jars at my house where we'll just put loose change in. And loose change is really becoming something that I don't have as much of anymore because I don't have physical currency as often. I just use my card. And when I get so many items of loose change in this jar, then I start rolling them and I just go through them. Well, and then, I discovered that one of my ancestors had a penny collection. So there you go. That's how they start.
Yeah, I had an interesting one recently. In fact, I just got it today. Brilliant progressive rock artist named Kevin Gilbert. He died way too young. I don't think he was even 30. He was probably maybe in his early 30s when he passed away. But he had a band. It was really more him, but he did have a band called Giraffe in the late 1980s. And came out with only 2 albums. They've been reissued by the estate of Kevin Gilbert, actually, as card sleeves, those, ones that aren't in the jewel cases. And I had an original of his second album, which I want to say came out in 89 or 90, right in there. But his first one was very elusive. It's like 88 or 87. So it's right in when they first started pressing CDs, for mass production in that time frame when they were really expensive. So I'd had just a card sleeve reissue of that one, but I finally found an original of the jewel case version. But I had to clear with the seller because about half of those that they made originally didn't play. They had an anomaly which prevented them from actually playing in your CD player. So they were junk, except for the inserts, the front and back. And so
which makes them more valuable.
When I scored this, I asked him, I said, okay, I went ahead and sort of placed the order first just so I could secure it. But then, like, can you please verify that this plays? Because half of these that were pressed approximately don't actually play. They have an anomaly, a digital anomaly, which prevents them from playing. And he wrote me back a day or so later and said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. We don't have a way to test it. I'm like, so let me get this straight. You're a record store that sells, like, you know, CDs and LPs and cassettes, and you don't have a CD player. I find that interesting. I got it today. It plays. Thank God. So we're done.
Oh, man, you scored. You scored.
Yeah. It's not in the best condition, but, you know, it's passable. It's not like it's wrecked or anything like that. But the back insert's got some, I wouldn't call it water damage, but you know how humidity will make those waves and something like that. So it's got those waves. The front insert's pretty good. The disc itself's got some rose petal jam on the top that I've got to scrub off. But the bottom, you know, the play side looks good. He graded it very good. I would agree. Maybe VG plus on a good day to a really untrained savant eye. But it was $50, and I've seen that one go for hundreds. So
that's cool.
I was pleased. It was great to be able to put that in my collection. But yeah, it was an interesting thing to, you know, seeing as how half the ones didn't play. I mean,
yeah, only the collectible market would seek out something that doesn't work as designed.
Well, I'm pretty sure you want one that plays, because had it not, I was going to send it back and get my $50 back.
Well, you know, we're going on, what is it now, 40 years of this CD. And I was just thinking of this when you were talking. We're going to get to a point where, you know, some of these CDs obviously aren't being minted nowadays. But, I mean, CDs have been around
over 40 years now.
Yeah, over 40 years now. And that's going on with, I mean, up there with the vinyl discs. I mean, I think CDs surpassed cassettes in terms of their lifespan. I think cassettes were only around for like 20 years.
Cassettes were pretty bogus anyway.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of rare demos and things. So there's, in my genres, there's a big tape collecting thing. People will drop down $400 or $600 for a tape. And I'm just like, you got to be out of your mind. I mean, it's not only is it analog, you know, but tapes, they break, and they're just, I don't know. I've got a handful of cassettes, you know, because you dubbed them all for me so I could digitize them.
Oh yeah.
But that's it. I mean, I've maybe got 8 or 10, and that's all I'm going to have. I have no desire to get any more cassettes, and any of the ones that I have, if they could be replaced with an LP, I would, but they're all like cassette only. Do you know the story about the most mysterious song in the world? It was solved finally, but you should go look that up. It came from the same thing. There was somebody that had taped the radio in 1985 in Germany, listening to a late night weekend show. And so, and again, this is like kind of right up my alley sort of stuff, you know, maybe more in the vein of Mr. So what they call high tech AOR. So not quite the, you know, hair metal stuff, but still definitely good for a listener like me in same vein. And nobody could figure out what in the hell this song was. And there are people that, as you know, are deep down the well, but nobody could figure this out. And finally, through all kinds of, you know, this person looked up this, that person looked up that, they took this information and went to the microfiche of the library. And, you know, it was one of those, it was pieced together, and it came from a late night show. I want to say it was out of Germany, as I recall, because I think the band is German. They're called Fex, F-E-X. And it was a one-off that they played on this little show, probably never played it again, because it was a show where local bands were featured. And they ran it, and it disappeared after that, but finally resurfaced. They figured it out, and now that band is got this huge presence on the Bandcamp website. And I get, quite frankly, too much stuff from them. It's like they're recording a new album, and they're releasing the original, you know, song and all these. I bought the original on a 7-inch just for posterity. I was like, that's cool. But man, they have amped up the marketing, which doesn't make me extremely happy. I mean, it's great that they've been found after all these years, and most of the band members were still alive and still musicians. And so they're actually making a new album, and it's all really neat. But then there's also the hype and the money that goes along with it.
Right.
I think that's getting in the way a little too much from the original spirit of the thing. But that's exactly how what was called the most mysterious song on the internet was brought out to prominence, was the fact that somebody recorded it off the radio back in 85. So that's,
wow.
I totally get it. I think it was 84, 85. I don't know. I'm probably messing up the story.
Well, and things like Discogs, websites like Discogs are great because if you're a collector of music like we are, you can really get into the gnat's ass of who the record producer was and what studio did they record it in. And I mean, just the liner notes and everything is on there for years and years and years and years. There was what you just said reminded me of an artist that I ran across. His name is Gary Higgins. And he wrote a song called an album, Red Hash. And it was the first album that he ever produced. And then shortly after, as lore goes, he became a nurse and never recorded ever again. And, original Red Hash of Gary Higgins sells for $1,400.
Oof.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, just these one-off, and it's a cool album, and you can stream it, and you can check out Amazon Music right now and check it out, and it's kind of like a psychedelic folk album, but same kind of thing. I mean, like,
I'm looking at it now. He must have made one hell of a nurse. He looks like Jethro Tull's great-grandfather on a really drunken day.
Yeah, can you imagine coming out of a coma and seeing that?
No, it's kind of like what the kid, who played him? He was the original choice for Marty McFly, Eric Stoltz. He kind of looks like this would have been if Eric Stoltz as Mask could have grown his hair and beard that long to cover
there you go.
His facial deformities. That's kind of like what he should have or would have opted for. But yeah, Red Hash. Wow.
And you can get reissues.
Crazy.
You can get reissues. And of course, I've gone down the rabbit hole of what's the difference between a reissue and an original. And it's really interesting stuff. But, oh, man, you got to love collecting.
Last copy I see on, there's somebody wanting $1,500 for theirs, but I've seen them go for as low as $175. Most expensive one sold for $6.
Yeah, and I want to say those are going to be in less good condition. The mint ones, near mint, the originals, those are going to be in that upper price range. But yeah.
Let's go through the track listing quickly.
Yeah, let's do.
Just for fun. Again, this is Gary Higgins. He's an Irishman, is that right? Or he's a Russian?
I don't know his origins, but
he's from Sharon, Connecticut, actually. American folk singer-songwriter. Says the album landed in Russia somehow, where it was unlawfully turned into a CD. That happened a lot over the years. All right, so Thicker Than a Smoky.
Mm-hmm. Great song.
It Didn't Take Too Long. Windy Child. That's one that has, eats too much chili. Telegraph Towers. I Can't Sleep at Night. Cuckoo.
Mm-hmm.
I Pick Notes from the Sky. Stable the Spuds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great album.
Down on the Farm, Unable to Fly, and Looking for June. Wow,
yeah.
That is an incredible track listing.
Yeah, no, it would be. Obviously, you can see based on that track listing and those titles why many of them, the originals, were completely trashed on vinyl record because somebody would be too stoned to find the needle and of course just wreck the vinyl record. But
either that or they'd buy the album thinking that they could play it by setting it up on like a carburetor, like on an air filter from their car and just scrape a wine bottle over it and it'll make the sound, it'll sound cool, man. So.
Yeah, the psych records are notorious for their condition.
Well, I'm always keeping an eye out for things, although these days I'm not doing that very well. It's probably hard for you to see. It's looking a little better today, but I can actually now relate to a line from Terms of Endearment between Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson that I never thought I'd be able to.
Would you like to come in?
I'd rather stick needles in my eyes.
Yeah, and for contrast purposes, I now know what Jack is talking about because I have had needles stuck in my eyes.
So I've heard of people having to go through that. How does that
It's actually
work?
not that bad.
Okay.
It's actually not that bad. So I have this thing. I had this thing years ago. Woke up on my 46th birthday with it. It's called central serous retinopathy, and it's basically fluid that leaks under the retina. Supposed to go away in 3 to 6 months on its own. So you know me, stubborn, don't want to do the doctor thing. Found out what it was, stopped panicking quite as much, tried to wait it out. Took years for it to go away. In the meantime, I never had the laser surgery they said I could have and all these other things. And so it actually permanently scarred my vision in a few spots in the right eye. I can't see. I've got dead spots over there. They're not real bad, but they are there. So then it finally went away, and I had another issue with my eye a few years ago and went and saw this lovely woman at the local clinic, this ophthalmologist or whatever they are. She gave me, said, oh, this other thing's just a broken vessel in a weird spot. It'll clear up. You should be fine. And then, by the way, you don't have retinopathy anymore. We took a retinal scan, and there's no fluid in there. And it's like, okay, perfect. That's great. So backtrack. Probably end of first week of the new year. That's my New Year's gift. I wake up and I've got a bigger spot than ever. And there's like overlapping ones. There's like a really dark one that's small. It looked like a diamond ring. Actually, I called it my diamond ring because there was a small, like dark blister, what they call it, right dead center of my vision around 1 o'clock.
Wow.
And
it's
there
like
was a ring.
It's like a shadow kind of.
Yeah, and there was a full blockage. That was like you can't see through it at all. And then there was a ring around that, and then there was fluid in the middle of the ring. And it warps text, and it makes it very difficult to see. So I thought it was my central serous flaring up again. So I just went in earlier this week and had a scan and, the full thing. And she said, well, it's not central serous because that's not all fluid. That dark spot, that really dark spot you're seeing is blood. And so what happened is, as a result of the fluid being in there for so long, my body responded by saying, we're not getting enough oxygen to our retina. And it started a process that can happen across the iris as well to the cornea, which is called neovascularization, where your body tries to grow new veins. It's very cool, actually. So it actually has grown some new veins in there to try to bring oxygen to an area that it felt, through its alarm system was depleted. The problem with any new vascular growth that the body attempts is that it's often flimsy and it's weak. It doesn't last. And so the problem is as blood was flowing through there and my body's going, oh yes, one of those burst back there. And so I got a pocket of blood and fluid that surrounded it when it ruptured. So I got to have shots into my eyeball. The first one is a numbing shot. It's basically it's exactly like going to the dentist. They give you a topical in your eye to numb the sclera and the whole thing, actually. And then in the sclera, they do an under the surface injection of like eye Novocaine, or I don't know what it's called. And then that totally numbs your eye. And then they pry your eyes open a la Clockwork Orange, and they just stick the needle right in the eye.
Oh, brother.
But you can't feel it, and it really was quick. And you can see the medicine when they inject it swirling around. It looks like when you introduce gasoline to water or vice versa.
Oh, you can see like little clouds.
Yeah, you can see the medicine swirling in your vision for a few minutes afterwards. It's kind of interesting.
That's wild.
They got to track it and see if it gets worse or comes back.
I still haven't been able to find a doctor that'll tell me why I don't have to wear contacts after my aneurysm.
Well, I think we know the answer to that. It's because it's it's one of those things that crossed over from the metaphysical to the physical, and doctors don't like that shit. Spooks them, because in their minds, everything needs to have multiple layers of empirical evidence in order to be vetted and proven out and sussed out. And so whenever you go to them with a story, same thing when I had kidney stones, and the doctor said, "You'll never pass this one. It's too big." And I went to the herbalist in my neighborhood, and he hooked me up with this stuff. And I went back with a little jar a couple of months later and said, "Hey, doc, look at that. What'd you say about this one?" And all he did was just go, "Oh, yeah, look at that. You passed it after all," and sent it off to the lab. And I was like, "You cocksucker."
How big was it?
I just showed you 11.5 millimeters.
So it's like the size of a BB, or what is that?
For a kidney stone, that's like Chicxulub asteroid sized. That's huge.
But like, what was the reference for size?
I'm trying to think of a reference for size.
Like a nerd?
A nerd, one of those multi-nerds that has like 5 stuck on it?
Yeah.
Think more like that.
Oh,
and now...
Like a mega nerd.
And now take your mega nerd and hold it up against the end of a strand of spaghetti, because that's how wide the tube that it's supposed to go through is, the ureter, which goes from the kidney to the bladder.
Yikes.
I'm really pissed at the company. They don't make the herbal blend that he gave me anymore, too. The company is Thorne, and Thorne used to be off the grid, off the radar, no advertising, just making good shit to help good people everywhere. Now, seeing ads for them, they're trying to break into the mainstream. Big herbal pharma don't like it, and they stopped making this stuff. It was called uristatin, and you can still replicate the blend by buying the herbs separately. It's only about 4 of them. But what this stuff does...
Black market herbalist.
It relaxes what's called the smooth muscles, and your ureters are a smooth muscle, whereas most muscles are rigid and generally inflexible. The smooth muscles, if they are able to be relaxed, are very pliable. And so that's how a kidney stone that large was able to track down my ureters pretty much fully undetected, because, I could feel something at the end. There's a curvature at the end where it narrows, and that's always like a tough zone for kidney stones to go through. If you're a kidney stone former like I am, that. But it makes the smooth muscles stretch, so when that stone enters, instead of just immediately stopping up the urine and then distending the kidney, which your kidney is not meant to flex. It doesn't like to hold any fluid beyond one. It's a drip machine. It's like an IV bag. It's constantly designed to filter and drip. And so when you plug it, it doesn't like it, and it immediately causes pain. It's the worst pain you've ever felt in your life. It's awful.
Yikes.
But this allowed the ureter to actually stretch, and because it stretched, and because the stone wasn't perfectly round, and they never are perfectly round, there's gaps that when your kidney drips urine, it allows the urine to pass through still, and it doesn't block. And
Yikes.
So down it crept, and eventually out it came. And I'll tell you, that was a mighty one to shoot out the old wee-wee. But I don't have them anymore, thank God. Knock on everything available that could even possibly look like wood on that note.
I've heard that it's more painful than
childbirth.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say that's the case. But I think when you take the whole thing, having him on top of you, being impregnated, carrying the child, that's probably more
that's probably pretty bad. Yeah,
existence, human.
I would say the worst thing I ever had was a spinal tap.
Oh, I've never had one of those.
Yeah, you don't want one of those. And when they nick a nerve in your spine, the feeling that radiates throughout your body is it literally is like being shocked. Like your body completely goes crazy, and it's the worst pain I've ever felt. It literally felt like somebody was ripping my gonads out of my back. I mean, it literally was just horrendous.
Well, the best thing to do in life is to stay out of the doctor's office if you can.
Let's stay out of the doctor's office.
That's basically what I said when I went in. They were like, how are you today? And I said, oh, never looking forward to having a new life experience more in my life. And she was like, oh, I'll bet. But the doctor's very good and you'll hardly notice it. And I'm just like, I hope so.
It's real good.
I got strong eyelids, man. So you better pry those fuckers open. They apparently have. She talked to me about this too. God, I can't remember what she said they were called. I gotta ask her again. Because there's a word, if you've seen Clockwork Orange, those actual clamps that they pry your eye open with and walk away. They have those at the optometrist's office. But she said people often report that they cause pain. And so she said she just has a tech hold your eye open. Which would you prefer? And I said, I definitely want the human touch. I do not want to look like a Clockwork Orange. So just let's pry him open. And man, that woman's got strong hands. When she pried my eyes open, I was like, shit, there's no blinking now. You got Andre the Giant's like descendant over here. It's like
she's a trained professional, Jack.
Man, she was too. So.
Oh man. Speaking of which, I've been meaning to ask you, have you tried, and I know how you love Trader Joe's. You're a fan of the Joe's. Well, but I've got a new Trader Joe's item for you.
Oh, okay.
Have you tried? And the next time I go to Trader Joe's, I'm going to pick you up a jar of these. Trader Joe's pitted, I think it's Amarena cherries. If you show up at the pearly gates.
Oh, yes, I have had these.
These are what St. Peter has in his hand.
I have had these. And it's funny, I just recently had one for the first time. We were talking, I was at my Christmas party for work this year. We were at a local pub or it's a bar attached to a restaurant. And I was talking about maraschino cherries because my sig other, Maddie, had ordered something non-alcoholic like a Shirley Temple or whatever. And I don't think they gave her a single maraschino cherry. And I said, when the waitress comes back, we're going to flag this heavily. You know, I'm going to throw the challenge flag because it's like, what kind of Shirley Temple doesn't have a fucking maraschino cherry? In fact, there should be like 5 of them in there.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the best parts of a Shirley or a Roy.
That's like Rogers, a martini without an olive.
So we're talking about it. And my boss says, oh, have you tried those dark ones that they have? And I said, no, what are those? She says, oh, you got to try those. Those are the best. So they brought a couple over for us to try from behind the bar.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yes, I have had an Amarena cherry just recently for the first time. And yes, it was good. It was. But I admittedly, I still kind of favor good old-fashioned maraschino cherries.
Of course you do.
I love maraschino cherries.
These are
good.
These are like the Kardashian version of maraschino cherries. And they're Italian cherries. They're in a very thick syrup. They're about $4.90 or $4 a jar at Trader Joe's, but you can buy them on the black market on eBay for like $25 a jar.
Black market. I'm looking at some from Fred Meyer right now that are $12.
Well, these though are the Trader Joe's Amarena.
The Trader Joe's Amarella.
Yeah,
Amarino.
These are amazing. These are probably like imported. These are like the ones that people use for like Black Forest cake, and they're not very expensive, but they often sell out quickly. And of course they're on the interwebs on the black market for like $25 a jar. And I'm gonna pick you up a jar of these.
Okay. Well, I will look forward to that. That's actually something that I would eat. I like the jar. It's white with like all these little cherries on it.
And the other cool thing about them is that they still have the stems. So when you pull it out of the jar, it's like dripping in this cough syrup gel. And you're like, why am I going to eat this thing? And then you eat it, and it's like, oh, that's why I just ate that thing.
Says that they are seasonal, actually.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, they're a hot item. Funny
enough, they actually sell Trader Joe's pitted Amarena cherries at Amazon.
Yeah.
And they're $16, and they are in stock.
Yeah. So you could order them.
How many ounces are we talking about here? 16 ounce. That's a pretty good sized jar.
The thing though is that the syrup that they put them in is so toxic that it literally will stick to anything that it's sat on afterwards. So you have to be extremely careful on where you place this jar in your fridge because it is inevitably going to have residue on the bottom of it. Just because, again, this syrup that they put these things in is ridiculously thick and sugary and amazing.
I like this item I'm seeing too on Amazon. It's the Luxardo Original Maraschino Cherry 6.5 pound can, $99.
Gosh,
I mean,
who needs 6.5 pounds?
How long would it take me to go through 6 pounds of maraschino cherries? I'm going to say a month. I'm being generous, a month, maybe. Now, only 4.4 stars for these Trader Joe's Amareno cherries on Amazon.
Imposters.
So we have a couple of centers. In fact, we have one-star review from Diane Wilkins. Product great. Whoever packed it used no packing material. It arrived broken and leaking. So again, your one-star review goes against the product, ma'am, not the packaging.
Right.
So you might want to think.
Reevaluate that one, Diane.
This person 3 stars. It's a decent cherry for old fashions, but still not quite Luxardo. But the price is right. So, while we have some real cherry aficionados here, some cherry experts.
Maybe you should join the club.
My knowledge. Breaks during shipment, price is no good. I'm looking at the negative reviews only because I'm American, of course. Disgusting. Had to throw out whole bottle. Products very poor quality. And then they show like a picture of the plate with the stems that they've picked off. That's interesting. Very nice there. Thanks for that, sir.
Reviews. I love it. Speaking of American marketeurs and doing their job, we're coming upon the day of St. Valentine.
Oh, yes, we are. A very interesting fellow he was.
And, they're saying that Americans alone are going to spend $29 billion on Valentine's Day this year. $29 billion. That's an average of $200 per person.
Led around like you've got a leash around your neck that's tied to corporate America. And you know who they've sold? You know you can blame? And I'm going to just say this flat out. It may sound sexist. I don't care. You can blame straight women for this phenomenon because, and I know this firsthand because I remember meeting the woman who became my wife at one time we were together 22 years, but we were married 13 of those. So I recall our first Valentine's Day and the thing is we conjoined in the summer. So we'd already been together for months and
you had to lay of the land and
all of the thresholds had been broken that are broken during that time frame, except for the marriage one, of course, which took 9 years for me to actually commit to. But that's another story. So Valentine's Day rolls around and I'm just like, everybody's like, what are you doing for the, for the hot chick you see and for Valentine's Day there, Jack? How about, I'm like, I said, she's cool. I'm nothing. Just, basically just blow it off. She doesn't care. I don't care. She's cooler than that. No big deal. Right. Oh man. I can tell you,
you stepped in it.
It was as close to me losing my penis as I have ever come to a set of garden shears. I mean, she was livid that I wouldn't, how dare I, like in this new relationship, snub her on Valentine's Day. And I said, it's a fucking bunch of corporate bullshit led around by I can go down and get you at that time, I could go down to the supermarket and get you a dozen roses at any time for $9.99. On the weeks leading up to Valentine's Day for the 10-day window that they're going to stay good, they quadruple the price. It's corporate fucking madness, and I don't want anything to do with it. I'm also not going to be told when to buy you gifts by some bullshit tradition. I'm also not going to be told what to buy you. I hate everything about stuff like that. Oh man, I was in the Snoopy snow cone machine doghouse for weeks for that. I paid dearly. So
the Snoopy snow cone doghouse. I've never heard of the doghouse being associated with the Snoopy snow cone machine.
The Snoopy snow cone machine looked just like the doghouse I was resigned to for weeks because of that.
It was
shit.
small and it was cold and wet.
And it still pisses me off to this day. We've been divorced for I don't know, 7 years now, and I'm still irritated about that. It's just like, how can you not see what a bunch of bullshit this Valentine's Day is? Go buy me some chocolates. Go buy me this. I already bought you a house.
Well,
I bought you a house I didn't even want for myself. I hated that fucking house, if you'll know. I couldn't stand it. It was drafty. It was old. It was a shambles. I'm not a DIY person. I bought you a fucking house.
This is what love sounds like.
Cherries.
This is what love sounds like, ladies and gentlemen. When Jack.
No, this is what it sounds like when doves cry.
Oh, yes. You know, your ex-wife does not really strike me as a Valentine person.
Yeah. So I thought as well when I met her. Oh, she's cool. She's, she can rock this.
This was the best attempt of no copyright romantic background music that the interwebs could produce. And I wanted to tell you about some unique events and traditions. I guess it would just be unique events, because traditions are something you have to actually really I guess, do year after year, don't you? There are some establishments that are doing a Feed Your Ex to a Wolf Day.
Oh.
Several nonprofits and zoos are running popular promotions on Valentine's Day where you can name a cockroach, a rat, or a piece of meat after an ex and have it be fed to animals in exchange for a donation to their zoo.
Yes, these things cropped up some years ago. Somebody had a great idea for those that can't let go of their bitterness and contempt for an ex. And, trust me, I've been there. I've been through some rocky breakups, but honestly, I mean, this is what you need to do to have a cathartic release, is have a zookeeper officially anoint one of the rats that's going to get fed to the python as Monty, your ex. Fuck you, Monty. Be eaten by the giant python. I mean, what an interesting Conan the Barbarian-like fantasy for doing in Monty, except he's somehow exchanged bodies with that of a small rodent and is now going to be eaten. Fuck you, Monty. Would you really want Monty to be eaten by a boa constrictor? Save that thought before you answer, because you're going to say yes. But just think about what you're saying before you actually say it.
Oh, man.
This is akin to we did Jack Hansen's list of most hated songs of all time.
Yeah.
His top 3, and you know that one of them was Before He Cheats. This is akin to that after the fact. This is not as bad as, he's a lousy, no good, cheating, philandering, lion.
Hey,
But
Mr. Producer,
anyway,
I think this music is way more fitting. This is the same music that he keyed up for the adult film or Hallmark.
Oh, right,
segments.
yes.
You remember that one? That was a good one. That was a good time.
Here's the thing. I know that relationships can get stale.
Yeah.
Or perhaps stale is too strong a word. Maybe it's too strong a metaphor. Let's say mundane. They can get, you can get lost in the average every day. Okay, we've got, maybe you have kids to take care of, even if you don't, jobs. And it's just, so it's easy to forget to stop down and do something to appreciate the person that you call your partner. I absolutely 100% not only recognize that, but I appreciate that it occurs. And I appreciate that there is a reminder in place to break that stalemate, to try and, make things fresh again and say, hey, we haven't done this for a year. It's about time. Yeah. But why does it have to center around commerce? Why isn't it just a friendly reminder? Why can't it just be, Valentine's Day is here, and in case you haven't told your wife that you love her in 14 years, today would be a good time to do that.
Yeah,
it's just
right.
a quick reminder on the morning news. It's just a quick news flash. It's not, you better go buy her something. You better buy her this. And you better make it bigger and better and more expensive than it was last year because, after all, the other men are waiting.
I can tell this is a hot topic for you. I didn't mean to bring up any bad.
It pissed me off when it happened years ago, like secretly, because it was just like, are you kidding me? You can't see around this ruse, this corporate ruse that everybody's. How much did you say? 29 million or whatever?
Oh,
29 billion?
Billion with a B.
$29 billion worth of shit.
Yeah.
9/10 of which is going to wind up in somebody's lower intestine and probably not get digested for 6 weeks if it's a lobster or a chocolate box of, Whitman's fucking samplers.
Or a chocolate lobster.
Or a bunch of plastic garbage that's going to wind up in the landfill. It's just a bunch of shit. It's another reason to go spend money and then drink alcohol to forget that you've spent money. You know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. I know what we'll do to close today's show. I wrote an article for my job. I just have to find it is all.
Okay, so there's one more event that I wanted to bring up during this deal. So what are your views on the mass weddings? This is where they get like 31 people together and they schedule a group wedding.
A group wedding?
Yeah, a mass wedding.
So this is where a bunch of people get married?
Yeah.
I was thinking more a mass hysteria, like a mass, sighting.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That's given to, it's like they think that the miracle at Fatima may have been a case of mass hysteria where everybody saw the same thing that wasn't really a miracle. It was just them all freaking out at the same time about these children that were supposed to have come back with a message from the Virgin Mary herself. And
is that kind of along the same lines of that UFO experience? What was that one?
Yeah, the ufologists believe that it actually was an extraterrestrial being or an interdimensional being that contacted these two little girls, and then they ran back to the village with the first of several messages, the last of which was communicated to the Pope, I believe, who, of course, never released that message. Don't you love that? Don't you love how the Catholic Church, the Vatican, is allowed to make everything so fucking cryptic? Oh no, this would be for us.
This is just for us.
They should turn over the Epstein Files to the fucking Catholic Church. They'd have redacted everything. Everybody's all jumping up and down about how much is blacked out in that thing just from the U.S. government. Try the Vatican, man.
Okay,
they'd seal the thing up in a vault.
We haven't made a comment on the Epstein Files in a long time, which actually is amazing considering our track record on this program. But, okay, one thing I did want to throw out there about the Epstein Files, is it just me, or how much money a year did this guy spend on frickin' film? He was taking pictures of everyone and everything that he ever met in like a... I mean, have you noticed that too?
I'm not trying to bail out on the topic. I don't want to pull the ripcord to, spoil everybody's fun. I admittedly don't know a lot about this. Maddie is more the expert. She goes down the Pizzagate hole and the Epstein Files hole way more than I do. I try to ignore things that are, in circulation like this. So I admittedly, I only know scant details, that which I hear when the national news.
Yeah.
All I know is that everybody is flipping out about it, or the world here in the West is flipping out about it still, and maybe for good reason. It sounds like some atrocious things went down.
I mean, he was like the original vlogger.
Well, and I'm convinced that he was murdered to stay quiet. It was like, we got to get rid of this guy. As soon as he went to prison, it was like, off him.
Yeah.
And I don't know who did it. I'm not suggesting that it was DT or anybody else. I'm just saying, look, it's I would not be surprised if there were some people that were very interested in keeping everything on the down low and then some, hush hush. I mean, it sounds like a very dangerous topic to be talking about.
Epstein was like Forrest Gump. He was everywhere.
If only he'd been as smart, maybe we wouldn't have this problem. And as stand up of a guy too, If only he'd been less interested in diddling small children and women, raping women, and whatever else that was supposed to have happened on this island. The whole thing is just comical. I mean, it's not funny because people got hurt. I understand that. Don't get me wrong. But it's just the whole thing is comic book. That's what I mean to say.
Right.
Right from the outset. Epstein Island. It sounds like something in a James Bond film.
It does.
He has this private island where all these
sensationalized
horrors. I mean, and I think it's supposed to be.
It is. I agree. I think it's
designed to be.
It's been designed to grab our attention. It's that flashy object that everyone is supposed to look at now.
And things like that, you know me, I'm the grand conspiratorialist. I mean, if
That this is
everybody's
happening.
telling you to look this way, don't. Look
Right.
the other way.
Look the other
I mean,
way.
seriously. I mean, and I'm not exonerating anything that might have happened. Look, I
No.
didn't know the man, obviously. I didn't know anybody. I don't know any of those people. I'm not one of the uppities, you know.
And we're
as
not
George
saying
Carlin
that
would
the
say.
crimes weren't committed, because it seems like, yeah, they were. But it just...
I'm just saying it's not going away. And maybe this time it's not going away for a good reason, because we're finally keeping our eyes on the ball that should be hit out of the park. Sorry to make a sports metaphor that was bad,
well,
but
anyway.
maybe it's another distraction tactic. I don't know, but it's the pictures of the outraged Congress people and senators and whatnot holding up and literally flipping through it. It's like, what do you expect? It's a secret government document. It's a classified document that has been issued to the public in a very hasty manner and a very...
You're talking about the redactions?
Yeah. I mean, so any good student of ufology has seen that trail of black bars before. And so it's like, why should that surprise you? And then, you know, it's just... But of course, we have this ridiculous thing going on right now in this country with this person that is in this high-ranking seat. And, you know, it's kind of like one set of actions begats another. You know, he is using... It's clear. I don't have a political party. I don't have a political preference. I don't like politics, and I want nothing to do with it. And I'm a total dissenter, and I always will be. So with that said...
How do you really feel, Jack?
Well, no, so literally, but with that said, it's clear that this person is abusing the office that he has in order to settle personal vendettas. It's been going on. It's crystal clear, clarion, that is the case. So those actions, though, the problem is then that begats, like I said, the same thing. So then the other side, you know, the other party that takes aim at him constantly and everything, well, now they're doing the same thing. And so all this becomes is, well, they just want to, you know, try to wreck him. They want to try to take him down. They want to, and it's just like, I don't know how that couldn't have already been done. The man is not a product of his own, you know, nefarious rise to power. He's a product of the stupidity and the absolute ridiculously, I mean, turgid even, ignorance that has been birthed in this country to too many generations. There are too many people that are willing to accept a complete lack of decorum. And that's my problem with it, and it always has been, is this.
Well, you raise an interesting point. I think, if anything, Donald Trump, I said his name. I'm sorry, I said it. I know
Who?
we signed it. Yeah, who?
Oh, that's who he is. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Now, he's a product of our democracy, isn't he? He is a product of our democracy.
That's what you want to call it, democracy.
He
I call it
is a product of it.
He's a product of... George Carlin said it best when he said, ignorant, stupid people will elect ignorant, stupid leaders. And that's the way that it is. And that is the way that it is. And as we've gotten, not, you know, like steadily, I guess you could say that, but dramatically in the last 30 years, I would say in particular, vastly more ignorant and more stupid. This is the kind of thing, and we can only expect it to get worse for the nightmare that we're in. And I'm not just talking about this guy, this one person. There's a lot of situational aspects of our society that are fucked up, upside down. And that's why. It's because of people like that. This is playground shit in second grade.
It really
man.
is. Well, so here's the thing that I was just thinking about when you were talking about how just absurd this whole Epstein situation is. How many pedophiles would you imagine have evidence that has been redacted to that degree? I mean, and mind you, this pedophile was a high-powered financial advisor for some of the richest people in this country. I would venture to say that that's never happened before, ever, to have that much information redacted.
Well, maybe that, but
What's behind the ink that is so sensitive?
here's the thing I don't think, first of all, Michael, I think the thing that people don't want to admit to, which is interesting to me in these times when we love to obliterate history for being as cruel and vile as it really is. I think we haven't come to grips yet with the understanding that there are centuries of pleasure that have been derived from the abuse of children and people in general, regardless of their age. Centuries of it. We live for it. There are sub-networks upon sub-networks where you can buy this shit. Christ, people that are in the popular eye that we have enjoyed and laughed at in the cinema. Jeffrey Jones, we talked about him. Okay, maybe not as, pedophile rank, maybe not high up, like Jeffrey Jones, but he's got the pictures. He's into it, at least from a voyeuristic stance. He's into it, and you can't tell me having the money that he did, probably, being as well-to-do as he was, probably from his acting and being well-known, that it's possible, he never paid for a 12-year-old in Bangkok. I mean, that has gone on all over the world for thousands of years, not hundreds, even thousands of years. Neglect and abuse of human beings for the pleasure of others has happened. That's the first thing that we have to come to terms with, is stop this revisionist history bullshit, because see, this is what it does. If we forget that at one time, not that it's not still happening, but it was really easy to write the N-word in a novel that was a bestseller, considered one of the classic works of American literature, because it was just such a term that was bandied about. If we go back and scrub all that stuff out like it never happened, this is the result: a sterile present tense, which basically says there's no historical context for this. This is all new, so we don't have to admit to anything. Yes, we do. We have to admit to being basically a pretty cool, interesting species that's been terribly rotten to one another for a long fucking time, and worse than ever now. So it has to stop. I really do think that it's macro to start. It's recognizing that the human condition is in error. The entire human body is built on abuse. Now, you may have never abused any children. I certainly haven't abused any children.
Yeah.
But we got people in our bloodlines that I guarantee you, whether we want to admit it or not, have fucking abused children.
Because what you're essentially saying is that the redactions that we're seeing play out in the Epstein case have always been there. They just haven't really been in the situation that we're seeing them now play out on national television, where members of our Congress are going, wait a minute, time out. How is it that this information is so sensitive that we can't even see it?
Well, I think I'll contrast it with another question. All this stuff that's going around, all these things that are supposed to have happened, and, they were there, this person was there, this person knew him well, the president knew him really well, they were buddies, they weren't buddies, he thought he was slime from the beginning, all this bullshit. It's just a big gossip column is what we've turned it into. But if it all turned out to be true, would it surprise you? And I think the answer from anybody, even the people that are the diehards for this guy and all the others who are in this line, would say, no, it would. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And the reason why, sadly, here's the reason why I think sadly, is because at least half of them, have suffered the same ills at the hands of another person, because there are a massive amount of abuses that go on in this world. I have never known a woman, never, not one, that can't say that she wasn't abused in some way as a child. Not one, not a single woman that I've known that this subject has come up. And it's granted not, a lot, but it's enough for me to be satisfied that it's absolutely rampant. And it has been. It's the norm, like my mom said. And it's still, even though it's getting shaken out and it's coming out, and we're finally starting to recognize the abuses and trying to do something about it in some ways. Yeah. You're talking about the destruction, the tearing down of a a societal norm
Yeah.
that is under the surface that's 10,000 years old or more.
It's amazing to me how many people, and people who you would think were smart enough to know the difference, really just kind of, and like Bill Gates, like they literally just turned a blind eye to the behavior of an individual because of greed.
Oh, well, that's the best reason there is in that crowd, isn't it? I mean,
There was so much of a fear of not being a part of his club that they were willing to sell their dignity to somebody like Jeffrey Epstein.
well, that just shows you how much integrity they have. They don't have much, if any. Those people care about one thing.
And it's
they care about
sad
money and power. And
because
this notion that, our blood is better than their blood is absolutely ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. We're not dogs to be bred with the right stock. Oh, she's not the right stock. Get rid of her. It's terrible. Oh, Charles, get rid of her. She's awful. She's just awful.
But I've heard a lot of people say that this is a reckoning that this country has had coming for a long time. I want to say it was Melinda Gates who said that this country has had it's a reckoning, I think is the word she used.
Well, and Melinda, it's interesting, is another, just like Jeff Bezos's ex. Isn't it interesting how we have all of these ex-wives of these ridiculously wealthy men, and it's the female faction that has separated, that has branched off and gotten away from the horseshit thing that their husband is still pursuing and will until he's dead and buried and done, and decided to take the money and do nothing but philanthropic enterprises. Now, obviously, these are hoity-toity women who are used to hoity-toity stuff and got used to wearing Chanel dresses everywhere and having their fundraisers and their, $6,000 bottles of champagne. So I'm sure that shit all still goes on, but at least they've now dedicated a piece of the fortune that they took from that union of marriage that was theirs legally by whatever agreement that they penned out with these guys. And now that's the mission. It doesn't surprise me at all that it's the female energy that's within an equation like that finally snaps and says, this is too much. This isn't okay. We can't have all of this. We need to do something better with it. And it is. It's primate behavior. It's animal behavior. It's playing out on a big, crazy world monopoly board stage that we've created. We were talking Valentine's Day earlier, so these are for men that time has run out to order the FTD bouquet for $189.95 or whatever it's going for now. Time has run out to order the cookie bouquet. Time has run out to order the fruit thing.
The edible arrangements.
All the restaurants are booked. Your ass is in a tight spot because you're due home in 10 minutes and you're expected to have something with you that expresses your love and devotion to your significant other. So I wrote this for those people in that plight, specifically for men. So if I may, I will read it to you. In case you hadn't noticed, today is Valentine's Day. And if you're just now getting the memo and have a significant other waiting for you at home, then you've potentially got a big problem. But don't worry, I'm here to help. Being no fan of V-Day myself, but having lived ostensibly in domestic bliss with a number of women throughout the course of my life, I've been where you're at before. And I can tell you that even though you might think you're done for because it's too late to get a candygram or book the honeymoon suite at the local Motel 6, I can assure you that you're only stuck, my friend, not dead. Not dead yet, anyway. You see, absent-minded spoken-for men are one of the foundational reasons that mini-marts were invented. And so, my fellow who gives a damn, but I don't want to die Casanovas, I present you with a list of 5 items you can still easily obtain from your local 7-Eleven or Circle K on your way home from work tonight that just might keep you from spending the rest of the week in the doghouse with no conjugal visits. Number 1, alcohol. Well, duh. If anything's going to potentially make her forget about what a dreadful schlock you are for not remembering or wanting to remember to blow a couple days' pay on egregiously priced supermarket roses and a quartiform box of marked up chocolates, it's booze, my friend. Hell, who knows? Maybe you'll even find a magnum of cheap champagne left over from New Year's next to the Bud Light Lime-A-Rita. Good luck, pal. So whether it's wine in a can or cheap beer in a bottle, just make sure you pack home enough so she can drown her sorrows to the point of forgetting the whole thing tomorrow morning. Number 2, Slurpee and a hot dog. Now, we all know the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and if you come home empty-handed on Valentine's Day, she's going to prove that old idiom right in a fashion similar to how Mola Ram did on his unwilling sacrifices in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, my friend. But relax, because it's 2026 and we live in a ubiquitously thoughtless age to and large, and that means that another old idiom, it's the thought that counts, has never meant more, especially to a wife or girlfriend who's probably already aware of the fact that she's romantically attached herself to a total loser like yourself. So instead of running all over town and busting your butt to save V-Day at the 7-11th hour, just relax and grab her a hot dog with everything on it and a Slurpee flavored with anything that turns it red. She'll love you just the same as if you'd presented her with a diamond tennis bracelet and tickets to a Richard Marx concert. Number 3, scratch-off lottery tickets. Roses wither and die. Cherry cordials rot her teeth and make her fat. And dinner out at a fancy restaurant is so expensive it will only ensure that she's miserable when you can't afford deodorant. So why not give her the gift of chance instead? Since a 5-pound box of money is probably out of the question, our little mini-mart buddy, the scratch-off lottery ticket, is here to save the day. Giving her scratch-offs will show her how much you care, but place all the blame on her lousy luck if the ones you buy are a bust. So come on, what are you waiting for? It's a can't-miss critical mass Valentine's Day gift that might just end up purchasing you a new big screen TV if she comes up flush, too. Number 4, Twinkies. Need I say more? Yes, the mini-mart has dozens of options when it comes to cheap prepackaged pastries that are loaded with preservatives and artificial everything. But the good old Twinkie is still the king when you need to escape being eviscerated for knocking off V-Day. Think about it. They're sweet, they're cream-filled, they're just the right shape, and hell, they even come in packs of 2. How much more perfect can this get for your best gal? And they even make a red velvet variety this time of the year too. So if you can't score those, it's not only going to be a non-loss of your own ding-dong, that is, but will actually turn into a huge win. Next thing you know, you'll be feeding them to each other between satin sheets after a roaring night of passion that only a snack cake represented by a cartoon likeness of itself with cowboy boots and a lasso could conjure up. And number 5, lastly but not leastly, Tylenol. Okay, as much as I hate to admit it, every list like this has to have at least one contingency item. You know, one thing that honestly prepares you for the worst case scenario in the face of all the hope the remaining articles promised. And so I give you Tylenol, or ibuprofen, or Motrin, Nuprin, Anacin, aspirin, whatever else it is that they sell to remedy over-the-counter aches and pains these days, which I highly recommend picking up in addition to any of the other 4 selections I've given you here. So why would I be so vehement about making sure you had a few pain relievers around along with the hooch, hot dog and Slurpee, scratch-off tickets, and Twinkies you're going to get to show how much you care? Because it's still possible she'll probably be needing them for the headache that you will undoubtedly hit her with after seeing what you got her for Valentine's Day. And so you'll need some for all that pain she'll be putting you through in the days ahead afterwards as well. Got to keep it real. Happy Valentine's Day, my companion prisoners of love.
Oh, man. And might I add, you can buy all of those at a neighborhood convenience store.
That's right. That was the design.
Sliced piece of ginger. You were a smile with a prompting to me out of the shower. All right. We took a bite in the morning sun.
Evidently, we didn't leave a good enough tip last time we were here. The staff is looking at us like, are you guys going to leave yet?
You've been leaving a tip?
Oh, that's why they don't like us.
I was just leaving like an actual card, like with tips on it. It would say like, wear your hair down, it looks better. Stuff like that.
What are we listening to?
It's the band Paris, who's from England, actually. And it's Valentine's Day.
All right. Until we meet again.
Looking forward to it. So long.
They're trying to say Valentine's Day.
Well, it looks like Jack and Michael have finished up their latest chat about all things existence. But if anything they said got your own Existence Brewing, be sure and catch their other talks at existencebrewing.com and drop them an email to share your thoughts using contact@existencebrewing.com.
Existence Brewing.